Am I audible to all of you? Just write in the chat box. Okay. So let me share my today's presentation slide. Just a minute. So as you can see on your screen, today we are going to discuss two of the very important topics of computer network, that is World Wide Web, which is abbreviated as WWW, and the next topic we will going to study in today's class is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is abbreviated as HTTP. So first we will going to study World Wide Web, which is also known as WWW. So first discuss some of the important points related to the World Wide Web. So the World Wide Web is one set of software services running on the internet. So basically World Wide Web are the type of software services which are running on the internet. As all of us know that the internet itself is a global interconnected network of computing devices. So this network supports a wide variety of interaction and communications between its devices. The next point is the World Wide Web is a subset. So just remember that World Wide Web is a subset of internet. Of these interactions and support websites as well as URLs. So just remember the point that World Wide Web is a subset of the internet, and it supports websites as well as URLs. So moving to the next slide. So as you can see the diagram on your screen, by this you can easily understand that this oval, the big oval is the internet, and internet will contain the services like the World Wide Web is there, the other services like FTP, email services, the telnet services, all these services are the part of the internet. And obviously the World Wide Web is the major service which provided by the internet. So by this diagram it can be easily understandable that the internet is the big part, and World Wide Web is basically the subset of the internet, and World Wide Web provides the software services in the internet. So all of you understand it till now? Shall we proceed further? Just write in the chat box. Okay. So the internet is actually a huge network that is accessible to everyone and everywhere across the world. The internet is governed by the set of rules, laws, and regulations, collectively known as the Internet Protocol. So basically, Internet Protocol, which we are going to study in fourth unit, I think, and the Internet Protocol basically provides us the set of rules, laws, and regulations of the internet. It also provides access to the World Wide Web and other interlinked web services. So, internet, as we already discussed in our last slide in the diagram, that internet contains the World Wide Web and other services like email services, telnet services. Now, moving to the next slide. Now let us see how internet and world wide web are connected. The internet and world wide web, that is the web. In short form, we can write the world wide web as the web. Through though used interchangeably, are not synonymous. Uh, Many a times you can know that the people are saying the web. Web means basically the world wide web, but internet and web are basically the are different things. The next point is internet is the hardware part. It is a collection of computer networks connected through either copper wires, fiber optic cables, or wireless connections. So nowadays wireless connections are mostly used. Whereas the world wide web can be termed as the software part. It is a collection of web pages connected through hyperlinks and URLs, means uniform resource locators. So, in short, the World Wide Web is one of the services provided by the internet. So, just remember that World Wide Web basically are the subset of the internet. The other services over the internet includes the email, the chat, and the file transfer services. So, moving to the next slide. Now, there are certain characteristics of World Wide Web. So, the first is hypertext information system. Means we can transfer hypertext information through the World Wide Web. The second is cross platform, means we can use any type of operating system, whether it can be Windows operating system or Mac operating system or other types of operating system while using the World Wide Web. The third is distributed, means approximately 70 million active sites as of December 2007 are basically noted. The next point is open standards and open source, means these protocols are basically used by all the services, like the we already discussed the TCP/IP protocol. HTTP we are going to discuss in later today. Then HTML, you already heard that HTML, the CSS, these are some open standard and open source services which are being used by the World Wide Web. The next characteristic is web browser. So it provides a single interface to many services. The next characteristic is dynamic, interactive, evolving. So these are the important characteristics. That World Wide Web is dynamic. It is having the property of interactivity, and it is evolving. So it is evolving over the years. So now we are using the Web 2.0. So the 2.0 is the latest version of web which we are going to use today. So these are some of the characteristics of World Wide Web. So moving to the next slide. Now there are certain comparison points between the internet and the World Wide Web. So the first difference is that internet is a global system of interconnected computer networks that use the TCP/IP protocol to link devices successfully. On the other hand, in the World Wide Web, it is the online content that is formatted in HTML and accessed through HTTP. So just remember that we can use the World Wide Web through the HTTP protocol. The next difference is a massive interconnection of computer networks around the world is provided by the internet, whereas the World Wide Web is the service provided by the internet. It means that if internet is not available, then the worldwide we cannot get the services which are provided by the World Wide Web. The third point of difference is in the case of internet, it uses transmission control protocol and the internet protocol, which is popularly known as TCP/IP. Whereas in the case of World Wide Web, it uses the services of hypertext transfer protocol, which is known as HTTP. So, so that's all for the World Wide Web. So all of you understand it? Just write in the chat box so that we can proceed to the next topic, the hypertext transfer protocol. Okay. So our next topic for today is hypertext transfer protocol, which is abbreviated as HTTP. So first, there are certain points of hypertext transfer protocol. So the hypertext transfer protocol is an application layer protocol. It is distributed, collaborative, hypermedia information system. The next point is this is the foundation for data communication for the World Wide Web since 1990. So at the time of internet started, we are using this HTTP protocol for using the data communication through the World Wide Web. The third point is HTTP is a generic and stateless protocol. Just remember these 2 points, that HTTP is a generic and a stateless protocol which can be used for other purposes as well, using extensions of its request methods, error codes, and headers. So by using these extensions, we can use the HTTP protocol in other purposes as well. So basically, HTTP is a TCP/IP based communication protocol that is used to deliver data like the HTML files, image files, query results, etc. on the World Wide Web. So whenever you write the URL on the website, you can remember that the URL starts with the HTTP. Just remember that always the URL starts with the HTTP. The next point is very important. The default port is TCP/80. So HTTP runs on the default port TCP/80, but other ports can be used as well. So if your TCP/80 port is damaged or having some problem, then you can use the other ports for dealing with the HTTP. The next point is it provides a standardized way for computers to communicate with each other. The next point is HTTP specification specifies how client request data will be constructed and sent to the server. So basically, it is based on the client server model and how the servers respond to these requests. So basically, first the client sends the request to the server, and based on the request, the server respond to the client. So these are some of the important points which we need to consider in the HTTP protocol. Just remember these points. Now moving to the next slide. Now the working of HTTP. So as you can see here, HTTP works on the client server model. So we have the client and the server. So basically this server deals many clients at a time. So basically the client sends the HTTP request, which is sent from the client to the server, and based on this request the server responds based on the client request. So that's how the HTTP model worked. So moving on the next slide. So these are some the steps on which the HTTP model works. So in the first step, initially a link to the HTTP server gets opened. So basically the HTTP client links to the HTTP server. Then once the link is established, then a request is sent from the client to the server. Then in the third point, uh, based on the request, it does some processing on the server. Then in the step 4, once the processing is done from the server, the response is sent back from the server to the client. And once the response once the client gets the response from the server, so finally the connection is closed. So these are the simple steps through which the HTTP uh, performs its working. So this type of working is called as the HTTP request response working. So all of you understand it till now? Just write in the chat box so that we can proceed further. Okay. Okay, moving to the next slide. Now the HTTP components. So the HTTP protocol is a request response protocol based on the client server based architecture. So just remember that the HTTP protocol is based on the client server based architecture, where web browsers, robots, and search engines, etc., act like HTTP client, and the web server act like HTTP server. So remember that there is the web server is the only HTTP server, whereas all the others, whether it is the web browser which is available at the client side, the robots, the search engine, all are treated as the HTTP client, and all needs to send the request to the server. So basically, the HTTP consists of two components. So one is the client and the other is the server. So the HTTP client sends a request to the server in the form of a request method. So just remember this in the form of request method, URI means Uniform Resource Indicator and protocol version. Uh, Followed by MIME. MIME is a type of uh, extensions. So its full form is multiple internet mail extensions. So basically, they are used uh, to send not only the text file but also the audio file, the video file, and the and other types of files on the internet from the client. So that's why it is called as the MIME, means multiple internet mail extensions. Like messages containing request modifiers, client information, and possible body content over the TCP IP connections. Then the second component is server. So the HTTP server responds with a status line including the messages, protocol version, and a success or error code. So, so basically, the server responds with the success or error code on a particular client request, followed by a MIME, means multiple internet message mail extension, like message containing the server information, the entity meta information, and possible entity body content. So these are the response provided by the server based on the client request. So just remember that the HTTP is based on the client server architecture, and it contains two components. One is the client and the other is the server. The client are sending the request to the server, uh, and the server are basically respond with the success or the error code based on a particular client request. So moving to the next slide. Now there are certain basic features of the HTTP. So there are three basic features that make the HTTP simple but powerful protocol. So the first feature is HTTP is connectionless. So what does it mean? So the HTTP client, that is a browser, initiates an HTTP request, and after a request is made, the client waits for the response from the server. The server processes the request and sends a response back, after which client disconnects the connection. That we already discussed when we in our previous slide, when we discussed the steps involved in the client server uh, interaction of the HTTP protocol. So client and server knows about each other during current request and response only. Just remember that the client and server now knows each other in the during the current request, only in the current request and response only. So further requests are made on new connection, like client and server are new to each other. So at a uh, once the client is sending every request, it will every request is treated independently. So one request is so basically server is treating every request at a time. So that's why the HTTP shows the connectionless services and not the connection oriented services. So just remember the first feature is HTTP is connectionless. So all of you understand this basic feature? Just write in the chat box so that we can proceed to the next features. Okay. So moving to the next slide. Now the next feature is HTTP is media independent. So it means any type of data can be sent by HTTP as long as both client and the server know how to handle the data content. So whether we are using uh, the text file or audio file or video file, or any type of file can be sent from the client and response back from the server. So it is required for the client as well as the server to specify the content type using appropriate MIME type. So MIME, we already discussed that these are the extensions which are used for sending any type of files, whether it can be text file, audio file, video file, or any type of media file. So MIME deals with any type of files. So that's why HTTP is media independent. So the third feature is HTTP is stateless. So as mentioned above, HTTP is connectionless. We already discussed, uh, and it is a direct result of HTTP being a stateless protocol. So HTTP is also known as the stateless protocol. The server and client are aware of each other only during a current request, and each request is taken independently. So afterwards, both the client and the server forget about each other. So due to this nature of the protocol, neither the client nor the browser can retain information between different requests across the web pages. So that's why due to this nature of the HTTP protocol, the HTTP is considered as the stateless protocol because they are not holding the entire session. So each request and each response is taken independently. So that's why it is also called as the stateless protocol. So all of you understand it till now? Just write in the chat box so that we can proceed further. So these are the three important features that HTTP is connectionless, HTTP is media independent, and HTTP is stateless. So many a times in your exam they are asking the question which is of 2 marks, that write the characteristics or write the features of HTTP. So these are the important features of HTTP. So moving to the next slide. Now the next subtopic is versions of HTTP. So HTTP has two popular versions. First is the HTTP 1.0, which is the old version, and the new version is called as the HTTP 1.1. So in its older version, HTTP 1.0, a separate connection was required. So uh, when we are using the HTTP 1.0, a separate connection was required for each connection. Whereas in the case of the new version, HTTP 1.1, the same connection can be recycled several times while we are using the HTTP 1.1. So these are the two popular versions of HTTP. So moving to the next slide. So the next topic is HTTP connections. So HTTP connections can be of two types. So the first type is non-persistent HTTP connection, and the second one is persistent HTTP connection. So let us discuss it in detail the and compare the non-persistent HTTP and the persistent HTTP in the later slide. So the first difference is, in the case of non-persistent HTTP connection, is one that is used for serving exactly one request and sending one response. So if this type of connection is made, then it is called as the non-persistent HTTP connection. Whereas in the case of persistent HTTP connection is one that can be used for serving multiple requests. So these requests are being served by the server, and server is used these services to deal with the multiple type of requests. So that's why this type of connection is known as the persistent HTTP connection. The second difference is, in the case of non-persistent HTTP, HTTP server closes the TCP connection automatically after sending a HTTP response. Because in the case of non-persistent HTTP connection, only one response is sending after one request. So the TCP connection closes automatically after sending the response. Whereas in the case of persistent HTTP connection, the HTTP server closes the TCP connection only when it is not used for a certain configurable amount of time. It means that when the response from the server is not getting from by considerable amount of time, only then the HTTP server closes the TCP connection. The third difference is a new separate TCP connection is used for each object in the case of non-persistent HTTP connection. Whereas in the case of persistent HTTP connection, a single TCP connection is used for sending multiple objects one after the other, because in the case of persistent HTTP connection, the server is serving multiple requests at a time. The next difference is HTTP. In the case of non-persistent HTTP connection, HTTP version 1.0 supports non-persistent connections by default. Whereas in the case of a persistent HTTP connection, HTTP version 1.1, which is also the newer version of HTTP, supports persistent connections by default. So these are some of the very important difference point between the non-persistent HTTP and persistent HTTP connections. So all of you understand it till now? Just write in the chat box. Okay. So that's it for today's class. So thank you very much. So today we are going to. We already discussed the World Wide Web and the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So thank you very much for attending the class. So now you can leave this meeting.